Yep, I see a good amount of people have joined. I'm assuming based off of today's topic, the majority of you are based in the UK. Um, Feel free to leave a comment on what part of the UK you're from, and good to know, good to hear. Or also, if you're just joining just to see how payrolls work within PARiM, then we would happy to hear from you about that as well. That gives us insight on what sort of topics we need to start doing with other webinars in the future. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get started then on today's webinar. So as you see, as you registered for, and that time of the year is coming up on us, today's topic is updating pay rules ahead of the minimum wage increase within the UK. Today we're going to be focusing on going over what those slight changes are. Of course, always refer to the UK government websites for official information. However, we are going to share a bit of it today. So we're going to go over a couple of slides on that, and then we're going to jump in how to update your, well, I say update, but you'll see in a moment how the actual process goes, how to update pay rules for your current staff. Then we're going to be going over the topics of also other ways to do that within PARiM. Again, depending on how you're utilizing the system currently. And then we're going to go into a little bit more of the system settings revolved around that. So again, main focus on today's topic is just going to be just updating pay rules. So we should be keeping it pretty quick and short. So let's go ahead. All right, so as most of you are probably aware, this national minimum wage is coming to an end of this month. Starting on April 1st, there's going to be an increase. As you see, there's 4 topics, and then the additional four categories, and then the additional apprentice category, starting from 528, moving up to 749, and then 1018. And then the 23 and over category of 10 with the price of 1042. That's then get moved up to the amount that we're seeing here for 1144, 860, 460, and then the apprentice one being 640. So within PARiM, there's quite a few different ways you can, enter these details in, making sure your staff is getting, the right amount for based off their age, their experience, that sort of deal. So we're going to be going over that in a moment. Again, if you need to investigate this information a little bit further, definitely go to the UK government website, as you see here in the link below, to get those answers found for how you need to run your business and do your payroll properly. A little bit of the apprentice information, just wanted to share it with you. So if they're getting that apprentice rate, it means they're going to be either 19 or under, or if they are over the age of 19, they're going to be getting, or if they're over the age of 19, they're in that first year of apprenticeship, that's what the rate is going to be. Then if they're qualifying more for the minimum wage increase, then they are aged 19 or over, and they've already accomplished, and maybe they're technically an apprentice, depending on how your operations work, but at least they finished that first year of apprenticeship. So just want to go over a little bit this information, bring it to light for you, and then again, if always refer to that UK government website as you're seeing below to get the precise information. But today, let's go ahead and just jump right into the system, and we'll go into what you need to do to get your team up and running properly. Do that, and let's jump into the site. All right, so jumping in the site, I'm not going to go into much detail of anything else on the system. We have plenty of webinars that you can refer to that are posted on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go investigate and watch some of those. We are constantly having webinars once a month. In this month, we've actually had 2 so far. The last one was based off of, the topic was employee management. So definitely check that out if you're more of a HR based person, need to add staff, manage staff, change staff, that sort of deal. Go ahead and check out that previous webinar that we've done. All right, going right to the pay rules, right up here under pay and charge. You would ideally have, of course, your entire staff allocated onto the pay rules. Of course, there's a variety of ways to be managing your pay rules. What we're looking at right now is just the person-based pay rules. So these individuals, Alex Jenkins, Brian, Justin, Matthew, they're getting paid based off of those 4 categories that we just spoke about in those slides there. So we got that minimum wage one, which was the apprenticeship. And then we got the apprenticeship, and then we got our minimum wage, and then this is gonna be, I think this is the 18 to 20 category, right there for that pricing right there. So this is what we're looking at currently. Again, there's a variety of ways to section off or designate your pay rules, excuse me. So in this case, we're having the person. You can also do position based, so that is, say a nurse in that case, or a security officer, just that base pay for that position would be getting that amount. And that's where you would be setting that up here. Again, today we're going to be focusing on person-based pay rules because that's what is going to be included if that person is at that minimum wage level. All right, so let's go in. Now we're at that period where we need to start taking pay rules that we have in our system and start updating them in order for that, say Alex Jenkins, in order for him to be getting the legal amount for his age, his apprenticeship, etc. The key things that we want to focus on when we're doing our payroll and pay rules and updating that information is we want to look at the from and to periods that we're seeing here. So we're going to go ahead and just open this one up. As you're seeing here, we have that effective from date. So that was the 1st of April last year, 2023. And then it's going to be expiring on it technically does expire on the 31st of March. So that's exactly what we're going to be going to do here is we're going to be doing 2 steps actually. So we're updating this one pay rule because we don't want to adjust any information. And then we're actually going to be creating an additional pay rule for the following year. And I'm going to talk and walk you through this as we do it. So go ahead, and we're actually editing this, and then we're going to go ahead and put the effective date until the March 31st. That means that this 528 is going to run up until that date when that minimum wage category expires. And we're going to be then creating a new pay rule for Alex Jenkins for the 24-25 financial year at that new rate that he is getting based off of legal obligations. So I've gone ahead and just added in that expiration period. Go ahead and save and apply. In this case, Alex currently has 5 shifts assigned to him, and that rate is going to be applied. In this case, we don't have to worry about that because none of those shifts are going to be, I know for a fact none of those shifts are after into April. And then because we didn't actually change that number, that monetary amount, then we don't have to worry about those shifts. But again, this is definitely something you should take a moment and read through, make sure it's all good, and then click apply, especially if you have an entire financial year of history and payroll going on, because of course, in my case, it's just 5. For you, it could be 100, and you don't want to be messing up that financial information. And that's the exact reason why we're actually only expiring that pay rule and then creating a new one. If we were to go in, I would add this, say, make this 6 pounds, 7 pounds, etc. Within the reporting, it would show Alex making 6, 7 pounds all of the last year as well. So what we're going to be doing now is we've gone ahead and made this so it will expire at the end of the month. What we now need to do is create that new pay rule for the next financial year, which would be from April 1st all the way till March 31st, 2025. How we do that is we're still within the same, selecting that same pay rule for Alex, and then go over here on that drop down right there. And then you can see there's a copy button right there. We went ahead and copied that. that saves all the information for Alex. We don't have to make any adjustments. This is saving you time, saving you clicks. Only thing you need to do is just, correct a few things in the title, as we see here. So 24, and we'll do, 24 and 25, as you see there. We need to adjust this period. We'll just leave that blank. And then we'll go and start it from the 1st of April, as you can see there. And we will make that adjustment. So the current amount would be 640 for him, moving up from his 528. So we'll go ahead and put that amount in there. That's now been saved. I'm not going to go into any of these further options at the moment. We do have another webinar that you can check out on pay rules, and we will go ahead and save and apply. As you see, just as easy as that. This rule does apply to 5 shifts. However, because we made sure the effective date does not actually affect those that are existing before that, we weren't getting that pop-up that we were seeing a moment ago. So right now we're all good. If I go ahead and close this, and then I refresh it, we're not going to see it right now. We just simply see that a previous one. And this is where you can go over on the left-hand side through the filters, and we see starts in the future. So if I go ahead and click on this, we're seeing a few of them, one for Justin Lewis, this one for Justin Lewis, and then one for Alex Jenkins that we just made all together. This one that we just made for Alex Jenkins. And as you can see, it's really smart to keep that date period within that rule name so you can keep track of them. This is typically how I create the pay rules for my clients when I'm creating and getting them set up with PARiM. Of course, if you have any sort of other methods that you want, however it allows you to really differentiate one year against another, or quarterly or whatnot, then certainly utilize this. By default, if we were to create a pay rule, it just says new pay rule. And, you're not going to get too much information unless you are, investigating those effective dates periods. Going then into a whole nother method then, excuse me. So this method right here is going to be pretty typical, pretty common for most of you to be utilizing, especially if you're going to be doing it person by person based pay rules. The other method that we can start utilizing is more of a mass change based payroll system. But this would be utilizing a designated employment type against your employees. If we quickly go over into the employees list here, we're going to be seeing a way that we can, as if I select all of these with the selected, as you can see, there's going to be change employment type. So we can change employment types. We can designate payrolls to employment types. So I'm going to be doing that in just a moment right now. So in order to do that, we need to go over to the system settings right down here. We'll go down to the people settings. We'll go to employment types as you're seeing here. And we will go ahead and enter in a brand new employment type, just simply adding it right there. I'll go ahead and give it a title. We'll say it's the national minimum wage, and we'll say to be used for annual minimum wage increase, and we'll use it as such. And then we can go ahead and just save it. While we're here, it's a good time to see is we have pay schedule, which would be how often does that person get their payroll set out? Is that weekly? Is it bi-weekly? Is it monthly? So these are the categories that can be linked to the employment types. We also have absent tracking, and we have work and rest rules. These are things that are going to be linked to that employment type. So you can certainly explore that at another time. All right, now that we've done that, let's go. Oops. Let me close this. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and save that employment type. All right, now that we're seeing it there, we can now go back to the pay rules and create a pay rule that is linked and designated to any staff that is under that employment type in your system. So if we go in here and I refresh the page, and we can then have those categories. And as I've mentioned before, we have persons, we have positions, and now we can make employment-based pay rules. Excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and then create that pay rule together. All right. So what we can do is we can then set the pay rule. I've gone ahead and actually I've labeled it where the minimum wage is going to be covering all 4 of those categories that we discussed. And then it's going to cover all of those. That way you don't have to worry. You just need to tick those employees that would be under minimum wage, and then add them in from there. And then this pay rule is going to be filtering based off of their age and based off of their experience, what pay they would need to be getting. So we're going to be utilizing a few different areas here. So we'll do add condition. We're going to be adding age range. And then for this, we're going to be doing the minimum one, the youngest one, excuse me, would be 16 to 17. And that's going to be at 6.4 pounds. The next one is going to be 8.6, 860. And that would be 18 to 20. And then that last one is going to be the 1144, as you see there. And we're going to make that one from 21 to, let's say, 99 for the sake of it. And we can add those in. And as I mentioned earlier, the system is going to take the information from that individual's profile. So Alex, Matthew, etc., as long as their date of birth is in the system, and then they have the minimum wage employment type added to their profile, it would take into consideration what that pay that they would be getting based off of their age. Then we need to go down. What does that apply to? As you can see here, we're going to have it applied to the employment type. Certainly, we could be way more precise. Again, I've gone over this into the pay rules and charge rules webinar, so certainly go ahead and watch that. But for right now, we're just going to assign it to that that employment type that we created together, and we're good to go. Excuse me, actually, let's go ahead and add a title. And we'll do this as the 2024 to the 2025, and that period again, why it's crucial to remember these 2 steps. And then we're gonna leave this open-ended for now, just for the sake of it. However, if you want to prepare yourself and get yourself all set up, you can certainly go ahead and go all the way to the next year and add that 31st in there already, and you're good to go. You just need to, at which point, come into here a year from now and then copy and then create a new one. All right, looking like we got title, the effective dates, the pays based off of hours, the ages. We're seeing here what employment type does that apply to. We can go ahead and save and apply. That has now been created. The only thing that we need to do right now, because we just created that employment type, there's not going to be anyone assigned to that employment type. So we actually just need to go into that employees list and start adding them into the system. So we can go ahead back over to the employees list. We can then, as we see, we have Alex Jones here, for example, but let's just go ahead and take a few of these as such, as if we were, okay, we knew these individuals were on that minimum wage for whatever age they may be. And we go ahead and then with those selected, we can go ahead and change the employment type. We are going to be asked which employment type we want, or we go ahead and create that or add that newly created employment type. And then using those effective dates, let's go ahead and have that employment type added from the 1st of April as well, just for the simplicity's sake. Go ahead and save, simply asking, are you sure you want to change this for certain people? Again, it is good that the system is doing this because you saw earlier when we created that employment type, there is quite a few key pieces of information that are attached to employment types. So it is something that you do want to take a moment to make sure that you want to proceed with. So it is good to have this. Going then, and those individuals are added. Let's go ahead and just check. We can go ahead and add the columns in, and we have employment types right there. And we are seeing that they should be, apologies. We should be seeing these in here. Okay. Employment types, utilizing the filters. Okay. Apologies, something has not occurred correctly. Let's go ahead and add a few again. Employment types, change employment types. Oh, okay. Apologies. Actually, I know exact reason. So the reason is because the effective date is in the future, of course. So we're not seeing at the moment. But April 1st would be that time period that we would see that in the employment type category. So apologies, wasn't able to display it for you at the moment, but I solved my own issue at the same time. All right, going then, and pretty much that would utilize all the capabilities that within PARiM to update your payrolls coming up to that period during the year where you need to increase your minimum wage. The only thing that you would want to really think about especially if you're utilizing this employment type payroll, is the pay priorities. Which type of pay is going to take more of a priority when certain staff are applying for a shift? The reason I say that is because what we saw over here on the payrolls is there is a variety of options to be had. A lot of my clients that I work with, they'll set a standard pay for that position. And then if the person has a personalized pay rule, then that comes and outdoes the position-based pay, because maybe the person's more senior, they get paid a few pounds more per hour, etc. And now that we have an employment pay rule, we want to also classify and get that higher up over the positions pay rule or anything like that. So in order to do that, we'd be going over into the system settings. Again, over in the top right, you can click system settings here, go over to financials, and you're going to see those pay rule priorities. And then we also have charge rules priorities. Going into payroll priorities, we're going to be seeing that list. And how this works is the further up is the more priority. In this case, we have person-based payrolls set as the highest priority. And then if the individual does not have a person-based payroll, their employment type-based payroll comes into play there. The number that we're seeing here on the right-hand side is just how many payrolls are under that classification. So we have 6 personal payrolls. And then as we created it together, we have 1 employment type payroll. To adjust these is very simple, just simply drag and drop. You are selecting an effective date as well on that. So you can start it on the 1st of April and then proceed, and then just click save from there. But as of right now, I'm good to go. I'm happy with my priorities. We'll go ahead and just reset that right there. All right. Excuse me. All right, that pretty much just covers all of today's topic. Again, it was going to be very short and sweet. But I will go ahead and leave the webinar open for a few more minutes. If there's any final questions, feel free to ask them now. And my colleague Alo, who is here, will be assisting, and also I'll be answering some of those questions. Otherwise, I definitely appreciate you joining today, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. So thank you. Have a good rest of your day.